go through these platforms. It's understanding how powerful we are when we understand something, but if we don't understand something, everything becomes a question. Like, for example, when it comes into Einstein's equation is amazingly elegant, but is the simplicity real or only apparent? Does E equals mc squared derive directly from an inherent equivalence between any mass energy of the square of the speed of light, which seems like a marvelous coincidence? Or does the equation only exist because its terms are defined in a convenient particular way? Ask yourself, why is it all social platforms are trying to find the answer, which all this time the answer is within? So, and it's all argumentative. It's just Einstein's, why he was put on this planet, the Earth planes. As I took the team to connection, we saw Einstein and we saw Tesla. That's how real it is. You can do anything you want into connections of universal travels of positions, but you understand what E is. E is the equation of thought. Equal is connection to your paraline and your paradox and everything you're doing through travel, through light speed, okay? Mass is the calibration center to its position of volumes. It's connecting to you through velocity. So you have to understand your mass conception, your weight, because like I'm 180, 185, okay? So it's all about understanding yourself within. That's the travel within, okay? And everything through its equation when it comes into square is everything through its integration of you through box frequency level. So that's the answer. Truly understand that. And I found it pretty interesting. Everything that I see is all about a question. People really don't understand. So they look at Einstein for him being so famous, coming up with E equals mc squared. But the thing is, too, is that Einstein doesn't understand his theory. He doesn't believe the fact that there is space and there is time. So it's just a question on a question till you get the answers within, right? So I just want to bring that to you, everybody, because they're trying to find out, what does it mean? Why is it put in this direction? Why was Tesla put in the connections 3, 6, and 9? What is that? We already talked about that so many times. So it's all about understanding E equals mc squared is everything through your DNA of travel, okay? And everything is done within. So your data, your processing of information. So it's understanding how to line signal, line channel, line direct, teleport, telewave, energy through electronic interference, or anything through that connection. That forces rises you to the past, present, and future, but you have to understand your alignments first. And you have to understand your position, what comes into the presence of its position. So I set up a new program for everybody. I'll get more into it. I didn't really want to go into its equation because it's extremely powerful. Other than that, feel free to subscribe, like, and share. Anything that you like, let me know. Go through donations. Anything you want to see. That's another thing too. I like people want to get into, okay, I want to see this. I want to see that. What's happening with this? What's happening with that? I'm here to answer your questions, right? Because everything I give you is space and time through its connection. It's all given to you through its presence to its future, right? So anything particular you want to know, let me know. I can travel to any direction, any distance, any location, any position. I can travel to any year. Okay, that's how powerful you are through the mind. Okay, so questions or comments, I can go through healing. You can go through my email. You can go through consultations. You can go through my spiritual healing, anything to that connection. Having problems with this, having problems with that, not sure with this, not sure with that. Anything to do with your awakening, anything to do with your heart, anything to do with your mind, anything to do with your connection of your soul, identifying yourself at travel. Just trying to understand what your soul is to identification, to understand why you're putting these positions and why you're here. There's a reason why you're here, because the higher self is giving you something that you need to understand. It's just a higher formation of you. So as I look at myself in the mirror, I'm seeing a reflection, okay? Now, when it comes into formations, okay, I sent a video far back when I went into 7020. If you understand why I went there, then you understand why I saw my former self, okay, 5,000 years later. I saw myself, and it was telling me exactly what's going on. That alone is powerful. That alone is saying, whoa, this is really amazing, because now you're connecting You're connecting to your former self of the future. So I set up a program. It's a code frequency program, what allows you to see yourself, to ask any question you want. It's all like trying to communicate with your inner self. Now that goes through healing. When you go through my optical levels and connections to its formation system, open up your tractions and your positions, understand your gravity powers and atmospheres. You have to stand you're on the connection of the earth planes. You have to understand you're connected to the moon for behavior, and you're connected to the sun through radiation. That's how you get a suntan. And you get your plasma energies and forces and all that connection. Okay, I've done so many videos on that. Okay, so understanding travel. Okay, if anybody wants to do this, anybody wants to do that, let me know. Go through the email. I can help you and guide you. I can put you in any direction, any location. I'll set up energy fields, plasma bubbles, or anything in that connection line system. It's extremely real in the mind system. Going through the application level when you open up your transformation life for the first time, knowing there is a third eye, right? And humanity has to understand that spiritual system of themselves. When the third eye opens up, everything around you will change. So you see the reality for what it is, right? So you start traveling to different locations, okay? So I took 2 of my team members on my force team. They're 300 years in the future now, okay? But their optical levels or their gravity and power of the atmosphere stays at 90% positions. That 10% is everything connection of communication. 90% of travel, 10%, okay, of its connection. So you have to understand you're traveling 90% of the time, and that 10% is everything through this information. Now you're probably thinking 10% is not enough, but it is. So once you understand your travel positions, you can go into direction in any location. Okay, so it's the same thing with the connections of the mind with boxing. Okay, 90% of the brain, 10% of the body. And that's how it is. That's understanding that you're using strategy, right? So it's 90% of the mind and the brain that's connecting. And that 10% is its body movement, right? But when you're traveling in space, it's the reverse. Okay, so you have to understand your body's nothing but travel. So when I went through connection last night, my connections in my DNA is birthed again through connections. So I went through another upgrade system. So now my energy, particle, and everything in the molecular structure of light, okay, is now connected to every wire in every connection of solar systems. Imagine that. Your commander is connected to so many wires. I mean, that's how powerful it is. So I'm connected to everything through wire now, fully connected. So the birthing system of me, that's why I was able to see these things. I saw my particle molecular structure of me looking at me, right, and telling me what's going to happen. That alone is a fascinating thing. So the program setting is going to allow you to see yourself in the future. If you go to my email, I'll tell you exactly the details. Okay, there's a cost on that, but it's different through each cost because you understand you're on a different path. Okay, but there is equivalency that it's effective, it's extremely powerful, and you're protected in all realms when it comes to energy fields. Okay, so the traction position allows you, okay, to see nothing. And then you start seeing everything. Okay, that's the operation of the universe. It's complicated stuff, right? Because you're always creating something from its presence. Okay, when you're turning the page, everything's blank until you write it in. Okay, once you start writing it in, it's already the past. You understand? Okay. So when I start off reading a page, I go from the beginning, but I finish at the end. That's the thought. That's one line signal to all wire connection, to my body framing, to my molecular structure of light of connection. Okay, now it's complicated stuff because you don't understand the travel of you. So you'll keep having separation until you have less separation to understand more. The higher you go, the more easier it gets. Okay, so the platitude levels, when it comes into my force team, 2 members, they're connected to the forces. So they're 300 years in the future through their thoughts of lights, through recognition. But their body frame system is in 90 atmosphere positions. You can't change those positions until the mind understands its thoughts of its lights. So the body and everything through the activation and everything through the mind and the brain and the soul has to identify everything through balance. Okay? So now you got 4 wires, 6 wires, 8 wires, 10 wires. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you understand everything through E equals MC square. Okay, that's history alone. That's all connected through light speed. That's all connected through energy. That's all connected through your separation. That's all connected to your mass of calculation. Okay, so I want to get the team into mass velocity, more speed, more understanding of who they are, right? So it's very powerful, powerful, powerful setting. I set up for codes. Anybody want to go through that? Just let me know. Go through my email and I'll put you in that. Any spiritual healing, anything through simulation therapy. Simulation therapy is more people that are in higher location of themselves, trying to understand what's going on with the simulation. Okay, because there's a lot of plateaus and a lot of, if you don't understand your formulas, okay, you're not understanding your thoughts of recognition. You're not understanding your lights of communication. You have to understand the simulation is everything through its reality system. That puts you in so many location positions. Okay, I live and breathe and travel instantly. Travel. That's all I do. I nonstop travel. Okay, but my positions are 1 trillion years into the future. So I come back in position. So it's understanding you see me as a holographic system, and that's why you see me all coming in and out, flaking in and out through different TV receptions, right? So imagine that you see me here as a holographic system, but I'm everywhere else. That's how powerful it is through the mind system. You could be anywhere in seconds. Okay, but now I can go into wires. I go into wires now. Anything through a phone, anything. It's really interesting. It's really powerful stuff. So it's a DNA birth of wire. And I got that last night through confirmation. So everything I do through upgrading cycles, once you travel to higher force connections, you'll see me more through traveling positions. Okay, so two team members are our connection line systems. They're in the allocated positions into 300 years in the future. And they stay in recognition of thoughts of lights 300 years into the future. That's another program setting. So I'm setting up so many program settings so people can get a better understanding how to use the E equals MC square and really understand everything through its travel. And that's what Einstein was doing with this theory. He just couldn't understand it, right? So it's understanding that if you write something down, you get energy. You write it down. It doesn't make any sense. You look at it and say, okay, what did I just do, right? You give it to somebody that probably knows, maybe scientists or anything that, that connection as somebody that's in astrology or astronomy or anything like that. Whoa, how did you do this? How did you do this formula, right? It's all done through the mind and the brain. So if the brain understands, but the mind's not sure about the creation, you're not understanding everything through its equivalency. You're not understanding everything through its act. You're not understanding everything that's put down. So if you understand what you're writing, you're balancing everything out, right? So people come across that a lot. So that's why I wanted to show you on a social platform of what can happen when things always end up in a question in a particular way. Wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. So you have to understand why people are put on the earth planes. Okay, it's all about getting you prepared to understand how to use your E equals MC square. Okay, so everything through its connection is you. Your connection to everything is your body. Your connection is everything through lights. Your connection is everything through travel. That alone puts you in positions of who you are, right? So like I said, I've set up a program. Now, understanding the program is extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. What this does is shows you another side of you, okay? Not so much of an older side of you, but it's the other side of you in the future. So when I traveled to 7020, I was in 2020 to that position. So I had to see my other self in the future, right? So that's how I got all this information. I got it from my future self. And that's what I can do now through calculation. It's all done through wire. It's all done through portal. It's all done through sentient. It's all done through dimensions. It's all done through codes. It's all done through computers. It's all done through operations. Okay, these are the things that you can do once you understand what the mind is. Fully understand what the mind is. It's creation. Okay, you can create anything through a picture of a resolution. A visual drawing, done. Goes out of its equation, right? Comes back to you 2 or 3 days, maybe a week, depending. So it's all about you being in the calming center every single day because you're on the earth planes. Not only you have connection with everything through its rotation, but you actually see the earth. If you see the earth, now you're connecting to your traveling positions. Okay? So if you go past the earth, you're going to see your former self of the future. Imagine that. I saw myself 7,020. There's a reason for that. Isn't that interesting? I came into 2020 and then I went through traveling positions. It was extremely real. I saw myself, I talked to my former self 5,000 years into the future. Okay? So that puts me in positions now into the presence of 2021. Okay? So this is a code frequency that I can do now through healing. Just basically, you go through my healing, you open up your inner self, goes into your triangles, goes into your body system, goes into the light transformation, opens up everything through your connections. Your inner self. Okay, everybody says it's a higher self. It's just a higher formation of you, which is nothing but plasma. Imagine your plasma of yourself traveling to anything through connections of countries. So you get into your 7, okay, the body fragmentation lines, the gravity centers, you're getting connected to the earth. Okay, you hear the earth, you can taste the earth, you can see space, you're understanding more of space and time, right? There's positions where I was in the video where I traveled around the earth and I was spinning, right? So what happens when you go around the earth, like Superman? You know, remember when Lois Lane? I know it's a back-prison video, but what I'm trying to tell you is how you change things through space and vibration, okay? Because it's motionless until it becomes into emotion, to motion. So you have to understand the connections of the moon and its program setting, because it has a behavioral system. The earth is connected. It's a feeding source. Okay? You have to understand why we have oceans. You have to understand why we have mountains. We have to and why we have volcanoes. We have to understand why we have underground passages. We have to understand why we have environments. Okay, you have to understand why we have trees. We have to understand why we have atmospheres. Okay, you have to understand why you have weather. We connect in all ways and form. Imagine that. We are aligned to everything through one line, and it travels so far. So it's kind of like picking up this, 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 right? And you're coming back into the center, and you're giving back the information, right? So you're picking things up as you go. Right? So that, for example, let's say you're in your car and you're going 60 miles an hour, right? And I did this with stunts. I used to fall out of cars. I used to get hit by cars, fall down the stairs. This is what I went to stunt school. So basically, you open the door, the passenger door, and every time, let's say every 100 meters or 200 or 300 meters, you're always picking something up from the ground. So you open the door, you place your hand, and you're picking something up each time. Right? You're picking it up, picking it up, picking it up, right? But it's something different. It's different information. It's different dimensions, different portal, different code, one line signal. You're not going over here to pick it up. You're not going over here to pick it up. You're just picking it up every single time through line communication, through one thought, through one travel. Imagine how powerful it is. Okay. So when you're traveling to 500 years into the future, you're picking up so much through one line signal, okay? And that one line signal takes you to wherever you want to go, okay? So you can go to 26,000 planets and come back into position and tell everybody what you saw, okay? Instead of going here, instead of going here, here. It's too many line confusions. The brain and the mind has to understand the conception of thought, it has to understand its travel of its recognition, it has to understand its space of time to its connection. Because you're not going to understand anything through E equals MC squared. Okay, because we all form around energy. Okay, so it's energy of thought. Okay, and its connection to your separation, why you equal, right? You understand the mass and the calculation and its box. You take it out as equation, right? So stop thinking how to get the question and start realizing it's already in the answer within. So it's all about your travels of space, okay, in time, right? So it's not looking at the time because there's no space and time in anything until you understand space and time. And then you understand everything and then everything around you will have space and time. It doesn't have time zones, but it does understand you through travel. So you're always putting yourself in the presence of its position, and you're bringing yourself into the future. Okay. So like I said, this program setting is very powerful. If you want to understand it more, let me know. What that does is it opens up your realm, opens up your portal, opens up your DNA, opens up your code of your future self. Right? So, and you're probably thinking, well, how far into the future? Well, basically, you have to understand this is how it works. Now, in your position, when I open up your program settings to its location, because you're in 2021, okay, I have to put you at 7,021. Does anybody understand why? Because it's one line signal. Okay. I can't put you at 7,025 because we're not at that year, right? If we were at 2025, yes, I can. But remember, it has to be one line signal to one line communication. All right. So that's what's going to happen. Anybody wants to see their former self into the future of 7,021, let me know. Just go through my email and I'll tell you exactly how to get to those positions. And I'll set a cost for everybody. It's efficient, it's effective, and it's extremely, extremely real. Don't be afraid of it because it's very powerful when we connect to ourselves, knowing how we can actually see yourself 5,000 years later. And then you get a true understanding, okay, now I know why I see these things. I just traveled 5,000 years into the future. What do you think your commander has been doing every single day? Just traveling to so many levels. Okay. So now, because I understand the birthing system of wire and I can travel to any position of computer operations centers, that connection, okay, I'm given 50,000 years a day now. I went from 20 and jumped to vortex location positions, right? So the strength of my brain simulator is changing everything through its keyboard phrase, right? The projection levels of the simulation graph. So connected to the earth, so connected to the moon, so connected to the sun. It triangles forces that connection system. So I get 50,000 years of information in a day now. Okay, so I just basically connect in all those forms and all those ways of looking at realms. And everybody, if you're not healed, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. But I recommend you to be healed because you have to understand the communications to your former self. Because remember, you're communicating with your former self 5,000 years into the future. So not only you'll be talking to yourself, but you'll actually be seeing the earth 5,000 years, 7,021. So this is what I can do now. It's extremely powerful. It's extremely real. Okay. You'll be traveling 5,000 years, okay, from 2021 to 7,021. Okay. Now, when you're in that position, everything through the energy system will change its location to you. You'll see what went wrong. Okay. So, allows you to see what you want to see. Okay. So it's kind of like you don't see anything until you see everything. And again, that's the operation of the universe. Okay. Nothing becomes everything. It's hard to explain these things because it's all about you're doing the page turner. All right. And as soon as you put it down, it's the past because you're moving forward. Right. So you're going from the top page to the bottom page and you're flipping. As soon as you flip it, it's the past and you're moving to the present, to its future. You understand? So it's all about delegation. It's all about friendship and relationship and partnership with your lights of communication to your thoughts of your travels. Okay. Now it may seem complicated, but this galactic school provides you with travel, how you can recognize yourself, your former self. Okay. Now, I was given this, right? So you can get a better understanding of yourself through travel, of your thoughts, and how real it is, how you can actually see yourself 5,000 years into the future. Okay. Now, the reason why I travel to higher line communications is because I understand the operation of the universe. I understand everything through the galaxies. I understand. So you have to understand everything through you is this connection of space inside you. So it's all about one line signal. Now, you're probably saying, well, wait a minute. If I can only travel 5,000 years into the future, how is it possible that you can travel anywhere? And I can't. It's because I've mastered communication with inside of me, okay, of space and time. So when you become an infinity of infinities to all transformation light, you can fly into any direction with location. I can go this way, this way, this way. It doesn't matter because I have balance. And I always set my positions, right, to the simulation interface, which is the planes of the earth, because I live it in the physical system. Okay? So you have to balance with all equilibrium of your body. You have to understand your countermeasures of travels. You can't have this too high and you can have this too low. You have to be balanced every single time when you travel. Same with you're on a motorcycle and you're on the back of a motorcycle. So you have to go with the motorcycle. Because if you go this way and he's going this way, you're going to flip. So you got to go with the ocean, right? You got to go with the rhythm, right? So this is all about understanding how you get into the flow and how you keep yourself going forward through clocking of dimensions or anything through portal connections, right? So I just want to bring that to everybody's attention. This is a new program setting that I'm setting up. So if you want to see your former self 5,000 years into the future, let me know. All right, buenos dias. Oh, thank you, Galactica. Yeah, still trying to get used to the Espanol. It's not easy. It's complex. It's complicated, but this is my second year being here, so it's kind of like my second home. I'm getting so used to it. And the thing is, too, it's not like, you know, when you go on vacation and you stay with your family or anything to that relation, or you have a girlfriend, a boyfriend, husband, or wife, you stay in a 5-star hotel. But when you're in Mexico, actually in Mexico, you're up against the locals, and you got to know how to speak Espanol. That's the difference between a 5-star hotel, right? Because you're in the barriers, you're in the perimeters. Okay, but once you intervene with locals, you got to know your Espanol, right? So I get by, right? So I'm learning much as I can, but I travel so much, and that position alone allows me to use so many levels, because every single time energy comes into me, I know exactly where it's coming from. And it's pictured in my mind through its code, right? So I can connect to any way and form through wire now. Okay, so it's like I can travel through wires. It's really awesome. Really cool stuff. So these are the positions I'm put in right now. And it's a new platform for everybody to understand. Because when you go through my healing, I'll keep saying that again and again. I open up your inner system of you. I open up your inner child. I break free, right? And you start crying. So when you start crying, you start opening up. And that releases the program. Okay, that releases all of the dysfunctions and dysfusions and viruses and all that. It just comes out. So you're breathing it out. It's like you're breathing it out. It's coming out of you, and you feel so amazing. And it's so much unconditional love. Unconditional love is a high rise. Okay, unconditional love is extremely high rise of a code. Thoughts or codes, they're connected to your vibration. If you understand communication of you, you have to understand your words of references. You have to understand your words of sequences. You have to understand your words of your computer through your pixels and everything through holographic every lines. Lacing line locations, lacing line divisions, lacing line directions, lacing line dimensions, lacing line codes, lacing line through confusions or anything through shapes and anomalies. So if you understand your confusion, you should be able to get out of the confusion. So if you get into a web, you get out of the web, right? Okay. Same with tango. You tango up, you tango on. Very simple. Okay. So you put yourself in that position, you get out of the position. That alone helps you along more with the travels of your thoughts. Okay. It keeps you out of the negative system. Okay. Because if you keep creating vibration of negative inside you, you're not going to be able to travel to any position or location, guys. Okay, especially if you want to go through the divine and try to understand what's going on with countries. Like, you can go through the divine, you can go through the galactic, okay? But the 12th central system allows you to travel to certain positions. Once you get out of the matrix, you're bound to everything through space. So it's a higher position of travel through dimensions of portals because it becomes into the sentient. The sentient opens up more realms of your transformation light. It gets stronger, 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 stronger. Your eyes get stronger. Your voice gets stronger. Your ears get very, very sensitive, right? Sensitive. You hear things, and everything through your senses open up. Like, you can smell things like miles away. That's powerful alone. Okay, you can have anything through its impulse to, it's external. Can you go into those extraction levels into, multiplications of perceptions? What is a multiplication through perception? Well, it's understanding your times, okay, of your location to your GPS location to its planet position. Okay, so a planet isn't created, okay, until it's created. You understand? So it's nothing to everything. Okay, so something has to come from something from source, and then it's created. Okay, so that's a little bit more understanding how to get anything through connection when you come into manifestations. So I want to get more into that. You really have to get into understanding, how do I manifest this? Well, manifest your thoughts first. You have to be in the calm. Okay, center positions and just think of one thing, like with the quarter and the blueprint or anything like that. Please, I like to know comments. Go to my email. Tell me exactly, did it work? What did I do right? What did I do wrong? I'm here to help guide you and put you in a better position to bring yourself forth through manifestation of thoughts, through lights, the activation and codes, how you can understand more of yourself through recognitions of your consciousness of everything, awareness of everything, surrender of everything around you, be abundance of everything, be the love system of everything, be the love activation, okay, to its correlation. Okay, your placebo are your thoughts. The cortex is your dream. The spine location is everything through connection of transmitting and receiving. You have to understand what your body is through travel, because it's all connected to you through wire, electricity, electronics, particle, molecule structure, okay, photons, protons, neutrons. So the higher you go, like I said, you understand what a photon is. You understand what a proton is, electron, neutron. Okay, you go into the nucleus. Okay, all those are connected. Okay, you come into the outer space. What is outer space? Well, it's outer formation of you through space. So everything that you say and do and hear and feel and touch and taste and know and create is everything through space. So when you come into those levels, okay, now the reason why I keep doing this is understanding one direction to another direction. How do we get from this line to this line? I don't want to change the line communication signal here, because if I do that, what happens? Is it still communicating? Is it still aligned? Right? If you want to see anything, right, through connections, you have to understand everything through the graph of its code. So you see the codes. So all you got to do is just change the angle like this and straighten it. And then you can actually see what's going on, right? So it's all point view. It's all perception, okay? It's peripheral vision. How far back can you see, right? How far back can you see? As long as you keep seeing it. If you can't see it, it's not connected. It's no longer connected. I see you, I see this, but I can't see this. It's too far back, right? So you have to train yourself through perception, understand what your audios are doing through communication, because you get sound waves, ringing ears. We got to get into that. People keep asking me, what are ringing ears? Okay, ringing ears are connected to you. You're connected to everything through the nature of everything through communication. So your body is trying to understand everything through the simulation, because it's all digital platform. It's all connected to atmospheres, weather, okay, interstellar interdimensional. Okay? Understand how to communicate with water, how to communicate with fire, how to communicate with air, and how to communicate with the grounds. Those are the basic ones. 5 within the system, 6 within the activation. Okay, it center lines everything through connection, as long as it's one line signal. But as soon as you don't see that line signal, you can't. I see it from here because it's a reflection through its projection, right? So it's a TV reception, so I can see it. Doesn't matter what it is. So it's line communicating, right? So it's going, so it's traveling back and forth, right? That's what it's doing. So if you want to change the position, right, and you want to come together through the formation, it will create its own anomaly. And it'll go higher into its connection, travel into a higher position of its dimension. So it's all about taking things out of its equation. And that all starts off with E equals MC squared. Okay? How you use yourself. As soon as you pick something up through psychometry. Okay? What is psychometry? That alone is understanding the psychological of your wires, your electrical light system, your body framing system, your chakra system, your mind communication centers, your eye receptive business, your audio signals, your voicing grid patterns. Okay? Your paint by numbers, like I said before, and I'll keep saying that. Right? So once you understand how to put all connections, paint by numbers, you become its picture. You formulate it, you calculate it, you modify it, right? Through all connections, through your chakra communications. You put a map location position, ground formation power in the atmospheres, put a grid formation system, allocate its position, put an energy field around it, put a plasma energy force around it, take it out of its equation. Now it's in space through its provisions. You can have anything you want in the past, present, and future. Okay, for example, if you want I Love Lucy, right? Lucille Ball, right? Back in the 50s, right? You can bring that back through vibration. You just have to understand how to communicate with the vibration because it's all stored through your mind and your body and your activation of your brain waving system. So it's energy waves. How to bring this back, how to bring that back. I want MacGyver to come back. Okay, so now MacGyver back in the 90s is going to reset position and it's going to be on its global network system because I asked through vibration, right? Because you understand your voicing grid patterns doesn't leave. It's all stored. It's understanding that it's in space. You just have to understand how to get it back. Okay, I said that too in the video, but I don't think I really followed up on that. But it's really powerful how you guys can get anything you want through manifestation, through its past, present, or its future. Okay, now this comes into conformity levels when it comes into, you want to connect with your loved ones that have crossed over. That's another plateau. That's extremely powerful. Okay, you have to understand the symbols, you have to understand the realms, you have to understand their portals, you have to understand their thoughts. So it's really understanding the entity force of not you, the person that passed away. So you have to have friendship, relationship, partnership, and make sure that they, they're connected to you in a way that you didn't do something bad to them or anything, that connection, right? Because, that's all about you opening up a portal. Okay. If you open up a portal, now you're coming into it's not the paranormal activity. It's just more or less try to get in positions that portals and dimensions, codes are very real through travel. Okay. So if you want to see the other side, people can basically understand more of themselves through projections. When you come into anything through books, anything through tarot cards. Tarot cards are portals. So just be cautious, right? And also understand you have to have friendship, relation, and partnership with anything through an entity force. Something that crosses over or something that doesn't want to cross over, but still in the triangular system of its health, it will show you through connection, it will open up its portal. And mostly they come into systems of mirrors, right? Every house has a mirror. And if they don't, there's a reason why. Okay. So it's really interesting how you come into these levels where you see through perception and what you want to see and what you don't want to see, but everything is connected through letters, numbers, and shapes. So you can achieve anything you can take. Like, for example, there's a lot of things you have to understand. The spiritual system, it's so amazing when you cross over, because when you're crossing over, there's no fear cycle. It's not there anymore. So it's kind of like you left the physical system, but you're still on the earth system. Strange, but true. So you're putting your positions that you're just nothing but energy of formation. And when you become to so many levels, you become everything through form. Now, people are asking me, again, what is God? And I keep saying that. It's all about you understanding the geometrics, the geometry system of you through operation of direction, dimensions, or divisions. Where are you connected to your thoughts? So, and again, we're into this position because nobody wants to go forward into their body system. Nobody wants this. Nobody wants that. They just concentrate on this. They don't know how to get that. So how do I manifest this? How do I get what I want? Well, you get what you want. But how do I get what I want? So everything's a question until you understand the answering system of you. Everything you want is answering within you. Now, I had to go through these things. You have to go through these things. So just get into more, experience of yourself, right? Really look at your hands. I said that before. It's not just hands. Okay. There's energy in it. There's vibration. There's frequencies. There's lights. It's knowing how to use, right? So if I understand the hand interference box code, right? Everything I do through groceries and all that, right? I go up and I scan, right? So when I'm scanning, I'm barcoding things, low vibration, medium, high. So that protects me and what to take and what not to take. It's laser directions of the barcode. Okay. There's a video I did on that with Desi Kadra talking about more what your hand is. It's everything through formation, right? Now, you understand too, there's a lot of plateaus. Your hand is very important. You understand your connections to your spiritual system. Once you cross over, if you see anything through a box, okay, it's really interesting how we come into this formation system. If you see anything through shapes, try to understand what your hand is, because it's everything through space of time. All right. So if you're coming across a box, if you come across circles, if you're coming across lines, you're connected in so many ways through DNA. Okay, you're connected to higher spirits. If you've seen box, you're connected to Mezekek, you're connected to Metatron. All right. So there's a reason why you're in plateau. Okay, through everything through the line. Split divisions. See that? Okay, misdirection, line communication, line signal. So everything through lines is connected. Yes, it's vein. Yes, it's blood. Yes, it's cells. Yes, it's flesh. But you have to go beyond what this is. Okay, don't see the hand as a hand. Okay, because if you just see it as a hand, you're only connecting to the physical system. Yes, my name's Bob, and that's all I know. But if you go beyond the AI system, then you see everything, circuitries, then you see the holographic, then you see the pixels going extremely fast. I did a video on that. If you put your hand up really close, you can see your particle system going this very fast, very, very fast. So as soon as you change a thought, you're changing your positions, right? So it's going like this, and then what are you doing, right? So you're creating on dark side, or you're creating on light side. You're creating its program system on the far force, or you're connecting to the north or the east or the west. So you understand your position of yourself of traveling northwest, south, and east. That travel position alone, everything through electronic interference. Your hand is a plasma of a web. It's an energy web. It travels, right? Everything travels. Your whole body travels. Your eyes travel. Your ears through sound. Okay, so you have to understand why you have a body in your physical system. So it's going way beyond the mind, the brain, and the heart, and everything through the soul. So the soul is identifying everything through the heart. The heart is identifying everything through the mind and the brain. That becomes light. So now you understand electronic interference, and now you know how to scan things like fruits and vegetables and bread. Right? I can scan something, I can see if there's any mold in the bread. That's how powerful it is. So you scan it first, right? And then you understand, whoa, I'm not going to eat that because it's not good for me. So we're put in this position to high-rise humanity so they can get better to its communication with your body and its vibration, to its energy, its frequencies, right? And everything through tones and everything conditioned when it comes to harmonic resistance. Okay, harmonic resistance is very hard because now you're coming into the phenomena. So truly understanding that there's a lot of people saying this and a lot of people are saying that, but they're questioning this and they're questioning that, is because they're not questioning themselves. Once you start questioning yourselves, then now you're communicating with yourself. Okay, you're starting to realize, whoa, this is amazing. I'm coming up with answers and I'm just communicating myself. I'm not communicating to other things. I'm just communicating with myself. So now I feel better because you're breaking down your old programs of yourself that you have built in your conceptual of your mind, your program setting, your computer operation systems. You understand you are a power of an entity force that's connected to light. And that light is for you to use for healing. Okay? Because you ask yourself, why are people getting sick? It's because they don't understand how to communicate with their body, and thoughts, and travel, and lights, and activation, and color. That's all it is. Okay? It's not complicated. So once you get that, then you understand more of E equals MC squared. Okay? So you understand the energy of its thought. Then you have to get into equal. Okay? Equals the equation, right? Where it starts off with separation. Just because it says equal doesn't mean it's the answer. The answer has to come within. So to get the answer within is to understand it becomes nothing and then it becomes everything. So that's where it's the equation comes into the facting division, where I came into 12, 12, 12, take it as equation 36, 36, right? 72, 52, 20, 21, right? So it's how you present yourself through your thought of your presence. Okay? You're in the presence of its future. Okay? Or you're in the past of its presence. If you're in the past of the presence, you're not going to have a future. You understand? You won't have a future because you keep going on that cycle. Even if you go forward, if you're going forward, are you doing something right? Something doesn't feel right. I'm not connecting. I'm getting a lot of that too from my force team. They're not connecting because they lost transition. They jumped into the negative waters. Okay. So think of it this way. Try to use the psychological system of you. First off, if you're in South America and you see a whole big open of water, okay, and you know there are piranha in there. Piranha, right? School, a fish, right? Would you jump in? No. Why? Because you know what would happen. Right? So it's all about thinking smart. Right? So that's kind of like thinking, okay, I wouldn't do that. There's no way. So if you put yourself in that system, all psychological, right? You wouldn't do it. So you would bring yourself out of it. Right? But if you create it, what's happened? You created something in a negative system. Now you can't get out. Right? So it's all the psychological of you through travel. Try to recognize the force within, okay, which is extremely powerful through light. You understand your subthical lights, you understand your gamma lights, you understand electronic lights, you understand electricity lights, you understand your operations, your magnetic forcing lights, you understand your plasma lights. There's so many lights through your body. Okay, you got trillions and trillions of cells. So it's hard to understand these things until you start communicating with yourself with vibration. Every single time I voice my grids out and I communicate with you guys, it's going inside me. And it's going so it's all communicating, right? It's like wind chimes outside. That's why I like wind chimes. What happens when weather comes in? creates a pattern, right? It's beautiful sound, beautiful sound. So that can take you to a place if you meditate just with the chimes of the weather. So the weather's connecting to the chimes connecting to you, the brain's frequency levels of your mind through its thought, through its creation. And now you're hearing wind chimes, and now you're hearing waterfalls, and now you're in the water, and now you're splashing around, now you're swimming. So you're creating your own story, all connected to its chimes. That alone is evolution to its creation. You're finding peace within yourself. You're finding calm centers within yourself. You're understanding more communication. When you communicate with the vibration of you, you're going to start understanding more of the chakra system of you, because it's all line communication. Right? You go on Google. Google is really good for that. Right? So is YouTube. YouTube shows you on so many platforms how to use meditation, all that. You've given a fact, right, to understand these things. Okay? It's not theory, it's fact. Okay? The more you present yourself through your chakras, the more you can connect with yourself through nature. And the more you can understand space and time of its position. Okay? So this is where it gets really interesting. Space doesn't exist until you create. Okay? I'll say that again. Space does not exist until you create your thought. Understand? That's why it's so powerful. Okay? So give an understanding why the earth is not flat. Okay? So I sent you guys a video, truly understanding from one connection to another connection. It has to have two shadows. Okay, one goes like this, one has more than the other, right? But if you keep one still and you bring this forward, you have to understand it has a curvature, right? Because it's getting bigger and bigger. So it's line communicating through one country to the next. So you know the earth itself is not flat. That's all connected to its shadow. So if you truly, truly understand what you're doing through the mind of its brain, then you understand everything through its connection to its body of its chakra system, guys. Okay? It's not that complicated. You're making it complicated because you're asking questions. If you want to ask questions about yourself. Talk to yourself. Okay? It's not loco. It's not crazy. You're trying to find the answers within yourself. So you can't go to other people. You have to do it through yourself, because that's communication, right? That's communication. That's what I had to do, right? I've been doing that since I was a kid, right? So, you come up with people when you're a kid, and you built up an invisible friend, right? And, your parents might think, oh, what's going on? What's wrong with my kid? He's got psychological damage. He's got ADD. No, it's not that at all. It's just he's connecting to a higher form of himself. So it's all about listening skills that humanity has to get into. So it's a higher self of you that's trying to understand you more. How you can get this, how you can get that, how I want this, how I want that, how can I move forward, right? So when you start talking to yourself and you built up an invisible friend, because a lot of kids do that, right? Some sing, some talk back, some draw out pictures, right? That's an imagination. That's creation. That's fantastic, because you have to understand that this kid, okay, girl or boy, is connecting to higher dimensions of intelligence. But it's a formal self of you. So it's kind of like seeing your former self into the future. So they actually see themselves talking to themselves into the future, right? Here's an illustration, okay? So it's communication back and forth. Right? So you're seeing your former self communicating in the future, and it's giving you back information. So you have to understand why we create invisible friends. Okay? Just so you know that, you see that in a lot of movies too. You see a lot of scary movies out there too, and that's a lot of program. Okay? Fascinating horrors. But as long as it helps you in positions, like if it has something to do with your job or anything, that connection, you can be a PA, or you can be anything through TV. You can be an actor. If you're doing a process, you're doing a program setting. If you're getting prepared, that's totally fine. But don't put yourself in positions through your perceptions, your audios, or anything through your voice, or anything through the mind, because it's extremely real through creation. Okay? So stop programming yourself and start evolving, right? Start creating your own journey, your own missions, right? So, all right. So what we got here? Extremely powerful, yes, very calm and full of power, feeling even more intelligent. See, there you go. See, that's it. Very good. I'm glad you brought that up, Dina. See, when she went through that communications, and I put her in 300 years in the future, the brain is trying to go backwards, but Dina is moving forward. Remember how I was saying the light and everything, the body and the brain and the mind has to come together in one sequence? Then you fly in direction. You can't have the mind here, the brain here, the body here, and the light here. It has to be in one position. That's yin and yang. That's through your thoughts. Okay? So light travels first, and then your thought comes up. Wait up, wait up, wait up, wait up. So Dina's, right, is in a conscious level through the subconscious system. Her compute levels and her component level system is changing all tractions and calibration centers. So the brain, okay, is going backwards, but Dina's mind is going forward. You understand? Through creation. So once she catches up, the more she travels higher and higher, the brain and the mind come together. Understand? And then everything through the body of its calculation to its chakra system of lights and its connection to its coloration. Everything comes in together through one line signal. Now you're connecting and no longer going back. Okay? That's the hardest thing to understand. The mind is its creation, but the brain wants to stay back. There's no travel here. It's going to go. That's what's happening. That's where you get headaches too, right? You get headaches because your brain is back, but your mind's going forward. You have to understand how powerful your mind is. You don't create, okay, memory retention thoughts through the brain. The brain does the firing wiring. It's the position. It stays in the location. It's the pyramid set. It's the satellite location, division through location. The mind is its creation of its thought. So we don't want to get too complex or too complicated. So Dina, okay, is understanding more how she has to get the brain into the balance and not go backward, but to go forward and to catch up to the mind. Yin and yang. Okay? So the mind wants to go back and play games, but we keep moving forward. Sometimes I feel off, but aligned at the same time. Galactica, I just uprise your system. So you're understanding more of calculation. So if you want to go into that connection and be with Dina and Lori 300 years in the future, I'll set a cost for you. So it's amazing too, because your thoughts of recognition of lights will stay 300 years into the future. So your brain has to catch up to its position. And that is experiencing through connections. And it's fascinating because you're coming into formation, how to communicate with the brain. Because the brain is not the simulator yet. Okay, once you have the brain as a simulator, whoa, now you're connected to everything. So everything is in balance of light, and you travel so fast, like I said, and you come back in position to the heart, and the heart is answering within. Okay, so that's where you get confirmation to things that you have to do. And then when you start seeing these things, you start hearing these things, and then you start feeling, and then you start touching, and then you start tasting. It's like, wow, I was just 10,000 years into the future. I saw 10,000 years into the future, right? So remember, it's not 10,000 years until you create it. Space is not created until you create it through the mind of thought, guys. Okay? That's the magical. Okay? That's the believing is seeing. It's the reverse cycle, which brings you forward. It's confusing to the mind system. Okay? So, but yeah, Dina's seeing more codes now, right? So her mind is 300 years in the future with her thoughts and lights, but the brain is trying to catch up. Okay? So, and the higher you go, the more it gets easier, guys. The less frustrating, the less confusion, the less fear, the less anxiety, the less depression. It puts you so high in vibration. Your mind and your brain and everything through creation will always, always be going forward, never going back, only through reference. which means that you want to see something, that's fine. And when you go back, it's extremely real because the mind and the brain is now in its alignment of its past, present, and its future in its one-line signal. So you're traveling through your particle system of an atom. Once you get out of the atom, then you get into the molecular structure of light. Okay, Bob Proctor talks about that, which is very informative, right? And he's manifesting. Look how well he's doing on TV, right? So I give you videos that are connected to that light formation. Okay, I don't give you any videos that are dark, because what's the point of that? What are you learning? You're not learning anything. Okay, you have to learn what dark is. It's all connected to you through your thoughts. Everything that you created ever since you were born, okay, it's getting out of that level of matrix and getting into a new diamond core position of yourself. Okay, that will highlight your lights and put you in a better practical levels when it comes into laser direction positions through your pyramids. Okay, why we have Egypt, why we have the pharaohs, why we have the meridians. Okay, it's all connected to you, right? So the thing is too, when you stand in the center of yourself, you understand you are history of ancestry to space and time. But just to make it very well clear, not to get confused, space and time doesn't exist until you create it through your thought. Understand? That's where it comes in, guys. So the more thoughts you create, the more you're creating of space. And that will put you in a higher position to really understand its information. Because it's not just going to give it to you. It doesn't work that way. Okay? You have to master your communication of vibration within first. You have to master your communication of your chakra system. You have to master the communication of your heart as a portal. You have to master the soul identification of you. You have to master your travels of your eye receptors. And you have to master your audios through its connection and your map frequency levels when it comes into the brain waving mind systems through its energy waving connection. Okay? So, but that's extremely, extremely connected to that Galactica, yes. The mind wants to go back and play games, but we keep moving forward. Sometimes I feel off, but that's it. You understand why you're feeling off. And now if you understand that, try to get the answers within. That alone is an upgrading cycle through its provision. Because you guys don't understand that, that's why I keep uprising you guys. Okay, so you're not understanding more is because the brain doesn't understand. It only understands the physical system of the fifth dimensional system. And even that, you could be in the fourth riding cycle of the fourth dimension and still be in the plateau of the third dimension, right? So your brainwave can be at the 3 dimension. Your mind can be at the 5th dimension. Your heart can be at the 3rd dimension. You understand? That's the confusion, right? So everything has to come out of its equation. And comes into line balance and goes up into space, right? Soon as you create something through thought, space opens up, okay? If it was that easy, everybody could see space. Because space doesn't exist until you understand yourself. You understand? You have to understand the communications within yourself. You have to understand why you have a chakra system. It's all line communication. 12 rotation cycles. How do I understand my body? Okay. How do I understand my thoughts in my body? How do I understand my vibrations and my frequencies of my body? How do I understand my energy in my body? If you don't understand that, how are you going to connect to space and time? How are you going to travel here and there? Right? That's why it's so magical. Okay, because now you're starting to believe in yourself. That's why it's so powerful. Believing is seeing, not seeing is believing. Okay? Okay? So it's auto recorrect. Okay? Your formations and your conjunctions are showing you exactly what you need to see. That's fine. But go beyond the see and go into the belief. Okay? So if you don't believe in yourself, you're not believing anything around you. And that's just put you on a program. Propaganda, everything through connection. And then you'll start believing everything else. You won't believe yourself, but you'll believe everything around you. That's the corruption. That's the chaos. Corruption and chaos. You create the chaos. You create the corruption. Okay? Don't worry about everybody else. You gotta get out of that. Just focus on yourself. You're a magical belief. You know the travels are very real when I travel to you guys. You've been in so many positions of travels and they're extremely real, right? Because I'm creating it. Okay? So when you create something from scratch, what does that do? It makes you feel good. Look what I created. Look what I drew. So basically, you're seeing a blank piece of paper and all of a sudden, it's done. It's created. Now, you want to activate it. You want to communicate with it. You want to color it. You want to high rise it. You want to put it in a dimension, a portal. Okay? You want to change something with it. That's space and time. So you understand the recognition of space. You understand the time of travel of your thoughts through colors. That's the connection. But nothing is created until you create yourself within. You have to understand the space of you through frequency. You have to understand the time of frequency. You have to understand the code of frequency. You have to understand the light of frequency. You have to understand the activation and the color and the chakra system of frequency of yourself. Okay? It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. Okay? And it all starts with meditation. Okay? So. Just going through your questions here. But Dina, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, to Galactica. It's funny how the brain is kind of like playing games with you, right? So it's going through connections of you. It's like, whoa, okay, I'm going to the past, present, and future, but where am I connected to? So the brain is not in the present or the past. It's just confused. You know, and now your school sets or anything through your galactic system or anything connection to travel is lost transition. So now you're, whoa, I'm floating in space. I don't know what's going on until you realign yourself back into position of who you are. Get the mind of creation of thought, get back balance with the brain, understand the portal of the heart, and understand the soul identification through all connections. And once they come into form, you can travel to everything through direction. And you can line signal up and then go forward. Okay? But you got to start off at the beginning. Right? You have to start off the beginning. Okay, people want to get the answers to the future. You can't do that. You can't do that. You have to get the answers from the past of who you are. Okay? And then when you start building that up, it changes everything through lights, activation, and color. And the Galactic School gets you off the karma wheels. Okay, it puts you on the right cycle, the right location, the right position, the right direction, the right activation, the right signal of light, of communication to your thoughts. Okay. Referring to my higher self, referring to a higher intelligence version of self. Yeah, I'm feeling myself in the future. Will see me soon. Yeah. But see, that's it, Dina. It's catching up, which is really good. So I was looking to relocate to Veracruz, but I think it's not happening now. My partner was I've been to Veracruz, yeah. Gulf of Mexico. It's really nice. Yeah. It's holiday time too. It's like completely erasing the ego of surpassing it. There we go. See, Dina's connecting. She's understanding what the brain is doing now through provisions of protection of lights to communication through balance. So that's what's happening with the ego of its brain. It's leaving the program system, which is old, and replacing it with a new. Okay. So the mind will help the creation of the brain, but the brain has to understand it needs to go forward. If the brain doesn't go forward, it stays in position of confusion. Okay. And that's where you go into the matrix. If the brain doesn't want to go forward, it's going to go into a dark matter. It's going to go into a dark hole. It's going to go into dark realm, dark vibration. Right. And the mind, okay, either goes forward or it's going to come back. And now you're more confused than ever. So you're going to ask yourself, how do I get the mind, the brain, the heart, and the soul, and everything through my chakra into balance? Right? You have to understand the healing of its thoughts of you through creation. Right? So And that's what you get when you go through my healing, guys. It opens up all levels of your brain. It changes everything through your program. Okay. So, and that's what you want to put yourself in positions. You want to understand your traveling positions, where you're going. Where am I going? What's happening? Don't worry about what's happening out there. Focus on you. Focus on you through communication, right? Don't feel it's strange to actually talk to yourself. You don't have to talk out loud. You can just talk within, right? Like I'm communicating within, but I'm talking to you, right? So I'm sending out different signals, but I'm still talking to you. So I'm communicating with so many thoughts, right? You'd be amazed at what your commander does every single day, every single day through thoughts. If I'm getting 50,000 years of information, I have to put it all in chronological order. That's why I was given the brain of a simulation, right? That's why I connected to everything through creation, all, levels of program settings, positions, levels of connections to humanity, to wire location positions, understanding what the simulation is. Okay, so you become your own simulator, okay, of your own light, of your own connection through your own auto recorrection to your own division. So you have to understand yin and yang has a purpose. Okay, your ego to its ego to eco, right? You have to understand that traveling positions, how to get out of the ego and get into the eco. Okay. Okay. So it's energy, okay, communication operation. That's what eco stands for. Energy, communication, operation. So you communicate with your body through its intelligence. Ego, okay, is basically your ground information system, but the brain doesn't want to leave the earth. It wants to stay in its position. It's being stubborn. And now you understand that you're coming into self-dichotomy. Your dichotomy doesn't want to split its location, right? Or you're never going to get out of the physical system. You're going to stay in the physical system, the ego of the brain, and the mind's going to come back to the creation. So you're going to come into an old creation, old thought program, old thought system, old wire location, old chakra system, back in this division. And now you're back in the three-dimensional vibration, right? All because you don't understand the ego of your brain. Okay? So that's what my healing does. It gets you out. Okay, this is more connected to the brain. What is the brain? What is the purpose of the brain? What is the purpose of living? Okay, you have to understand the firing, wiring of its brain. Joe Dispenza talks about that. Greg Braden, right? So it's all about the epigenetics of you. It's all about the DNA structures of you. It's all about your chemical system of you. But truly, when you get into the healing, it changes you directly. It balances out the brain. The brain understands, okay, now you're traveling to 10,000 years in the future. So the brain is going to follow the mind. And the body of the chakra is going to follow everything through its line signal. Right? The only thing left, okay, is its position, its location. Where are you going? You can't send signals and create something if you don't know where you're going, because you won't be creating. I just created a line signal. I say that again. A lot of people get confused because they got the brain in the balance, the mind's a position of creation, the heart understands its portal, but the soul doesn't understand its division of location to its position. That's why it gets confusing. You got everything in balance except the soul doesn't identify you through your thoughts. That's confusion alone. That will put you back into the matrix 2.0, which is no longer created, right? The energy system and everything. Practical laws, barriers, and all that, it's disintegrating. It's no longer there in positions. We are definitely into the light now. So it's all about humanity getting caught up with their brains through their connection. Really understand how powerful you are, right? You know you have a mind. And the thing is, too, is that you can't see the mind. It doesn't exist until it exists through thought. That's space and time, guys. You want to know what space and time is? It's the mind. You understand what the brain is? The brain is the physical system that you live on, the earth system. So it's all about the earth is connecting to your brainwaves. But where's the telegraphing? Where's the tele energy system? Where is it telecommunicating to? your energy system, of the chakra system. If you don't understand your communication with your thoughts, you're going to have extremely hard problems with the brain. Okay, you can't have conception of the mind and the brain system in a three-dimensional system, okay, and have the heart of its portal system and everything through soul identification doesn't understand anything through its connection. So much confusion there, right? Don't focus on this, don't focus on that, just focus on what you want. Okay, don't focus on the past. It's not there, it's gone, it's yesterday. Focus on the here and now. If you just focus on the here and now, you understand how to communicate with one chakra system. Open up one position, solar plex. Okay, you open up your throat chakra. Just communicate with that level. Just open up one chakra through one thought, to one location, to one position, through one light, to one connection of one location. Okay? So don't lose traction of that. Don't think, oh, I got to go pick up my daughter. Oh, I got to go do this. Oh, I got to talk to my husband. Oh, we had a fight. No, you can't do that. You're not connecting. You have to go into the calming center of you before you travel through meditation. Okay? Because you're going to lose everything through fruition of light. You're going to lose your thought of travel. You're going to lose your coloration, okay, of space and time to its position. Right? As long as you keep yourself going forward, you're in the present and not the past. So keep your thoughts in the present. Calm your center. Right? Open up your mind. Now you're creating space and time. Okay? You haven't traveled your thoughts. You've just created it. So the brain is at a frequency level of balance. It knows where it's going to its location, guys. Okay? So if you're 500,000 years into the future, your mind is created, the thoughts are recognizing through the soul identification, your heart is at that portal through its division, everything in position has to be at that dimension. But if your brain doesn't understand its position, what's going to happen? It's going to crash. And it's going to crash hard. Because now you travel to a higher position of vibration, and now you're getting a reaction of a headache. Okay? So we have to get out of those positions of our thoughts of the past and put our positions of our thoughts in the presence of its future. Right? The presence of its thought, once it's created, it's in its future right away. That's why it's so powerful, because you're manifesting on the right line, right communication, right signal to one center position of you. So your center position is the earth. As long as you know that. Okay? But just to make it very well clear, I'll say this over and over and over and over again. Space and time of you is not created until you create your thought. The mind is the creation of the thought of travel through light. The brain's trying to understand the mind of creation. Do you understand? That's the yin and yang. Okay? So you have to have the male and the female of its humanity to its connection. So you have the moon base, the moon being, the moon location to its program setting. It has to understand the positive and negative system of you. When you put positive and negative wire, you light up a light bulb, right? So you have to understand your traction positions to retraction positions to balance locations to center positions, because you're always centering your thoughts, because you're coming back to the earth. Okay? You're still traveling, but you're still on the earth. So that's what doesn't leave. So the higher you go, the more you become a hologram. Okay, so just imagine that you travel into so many levels of positions. Okay, this is what it starts off with through calculation. All right, so you get into that connection like this. Now we start off with this. Okay, so you are in the center. This is you. Okay, a normal day you. Okay, let's just start off with that. That's you. Okay, now Not going to get complicated travel positions. Everything through line signals, everything through connections. So the brainwave knows its position. The mind knows its connection to its creation. Everything through the heart is identifying everything through the soul. All right. So if everything is in division, this is what happens to you through calculation. So you come out of its equation. And this is what it means. You travel in so many division directions or locations. So your thoughts that you create travel to your positions. So you come out of your plasma force through line signals, and you become everything through energy positions. Okay? So this is what happens to you through connections of your thoughts and recognition, lights. So you travel to so many positions and realms through its dimensions. Right? So that's you creating thoughts. Right? Through one line signal. Okay? So your plasma of yourself is traveling to different positions. But you're picking yourself up, like it's going do. So it's like communicating, you're going back into center. You have to go back in center because you're on the earth. You can't plant 2 levels and go to the plasma energy system 10,000 years and stay. The mind can't stay in the future. Okay? It can't. The only way it'd stay in the future is if the brain's there. That's why your commander is so powerful. Because my mind and my brain, I created my own simulator of creation. So everything that I do is everything through future, to its presence, to its past, of its position, right? That's how I'm able to go so fast and create everything through its anomaly of its thought. One thought, that's all it takes. And it travels through the mind. So you're picking things up as you go and you're creating things through information, right? So try to be your commander. 50,000 years of information, try to put it in chronological order for everybody to understand. It's a lot, especially through wires. So you guys are just trying to understand your thoughts or your brainwaves. You're trying to understand your positions of your mind. Your mind understands its creation, but your brain doesn't understand its position. It's not going to fire and wire if you don't understand the heart. Okay, and the heart has to identify everything that's going on through its travel. If you take a thought and you don't know where to travel, you're not connected to your soul. You're separated. That's confusion. All right? So, but these are the positions you can get yourself in if you know how to travel to its connection. Right? So you're taking yourself into higher division levels. Okay? This is what the higher self can do. Right? So you're connecting, you're collecting from the collective. Right? So all right, so let's get into your more of your questions here. Commander, I was looking to relocate to Veracruz. Yeah, we talked about that. It's likely completely erasing the ego. Yes, we talked about that. I hear XD thousands at night. Yeah, you're going to see that through more formation, through an alliance. Galactica. Makes sense. Thank you, Dina. Yes, it's like a game where you're surpassed its obstacles. And that's what it is. The brain is trying to understand the game that you're in. It's trying to understand its realms, trying to understand its portals, trying to understand its code. Because the mind already knows the answer. That's the simulation. The mind of the creation is the simulation that you're creating through thought. The brain is in the 5th dimensional system of the earth. So the earth has to catch up to what you're talking about through your thoughts. And your communication is everything through its portal of its line communication of its chakra system. Right? So you have to be aligned with everything. And then you can travel to any position of direction. Okay? But the soul has to be in full cycle of rotation. It can't be any separation there. Okay? If there's separation with the soul, it's not identifying anything through thought of lights, guys. So you're traveling your thoughts, but you're not, oh, wait a minute, my brain's here. Where's my mind? What am I creating? What are you creating? Stop focusing on everything outside. Focus in. That's the answer, right? Same thing with the equation when it came to Einstein. Why? I just wanted to show you how it's a practical level, but everything's a question. It's a particular way. Why is it a question? Okay. You want the answer, you get it within. You want to communicate with space, you get it within. Right? So you're creating something inside you, which becomes extremely real through its outer surface, the outer layer of your surface, the ozone layer. What is an ozone layer? So when you travel through the mind and you've already created your thoughts and your brain is in position, once the brain and the mind and the heart and the soul and everything through your body, your chakra is in location, every single day in the presence, that's where the power comes from. Okay? So you're always traveling through connections and you're always presenting yourself in the presence and not the past, because everything is in line balance now. Okay? So that's how you move forward in life. Okay? So Priscilla, how's it going? But yeah, it's all a game. It's understanding the game of your brain. Yeah. Calming centered, not to get caught up in it. Yeah, it makes sense being in the now. You have to be in the now. You have to live the presence of the now. And the problem is that people are programmed with their brain, their energy waves. What is your brain? What does it do? Where's it going? What's it saying? What's happening to my brain? So you have to understand your positions. And when you scan, I close my eyes, I see my brain right away because I know what it is. Okay, it's everything through creation. Because you're standing in positions, you have a brain. You just have to know how to use it through your thoughts. Your mind knows what it's doing. The mind is the simulation. Whoa, think about that. Because it's all about creation. So the mind's the creation. The brain, okay, is its location to the mind of its creation. Don't get confused here. Thoughts are done through connections of your line communication through your chakras. Okay, so you're trying to balance everything out and putting yourself in the present here and now. Okay, that will give you a future into the simulation. Okay, that's how I'm able to travel trillions and trillion years into the future and come back with all that information through its life system. Okay, so you're taking a trip. You're going to different atmospheres. You're going to different dimensions. You're going to different portals, but you have to understand how to open these up. And the brain and the mind has to understand its creation of its thoughts. And the heart has to recognize its portal through its soul identification. If you can't identify your thoughts of travel, you're going to have a confusing problem, confusing line through activation. So if you're communicating through lines, you know, that's great, but do you understand where the lines are going through connections? Right? Singularity lines go into that connection. All right, so here's three different thoughts along communication. Where I can select to its position. Right? So here you are scanning three different lines of communication. Let's just show you. Here's one line. Okay, here's another line. And here's another line. Okay, so here's three lines right now. Try to understand that. What is that? What is this? What does this all mean? This is all done through travel. Now, if you see these things, this is what you guys are going through right now. If you're seeing lines of communication, if you're seeing pixels, if you're seeing blue lights or anything, you have to understand where it's coming from. So the brain has to understand its relation because it's the fifth dimensional system of the physical system of the grounds of the earth. So the earth has to understand the lines of communication through its thought. Thought has to understand its communication through its color. Color understands lights, the dimensions of portals. Then you understand everything through line sequence is one line communication. Three division levels of three different intelligence signals through your perceptions. Okay, and then you understand communications to all different lines of matrix line communication signals. Right? That's travel along through connection. If you don't, it travels to its position out of its equation. Now, if I bring it down, like I said, I love doing this because it helps you guys out through travel, just through lines. Right? If I bring this down, I'm now in a different division of a dimension. Travel to its location. And it's out of its equation. It's not there, is it? Because the line signals and everything the balance of my mind and my brain is everything through the simulation, it disappears out of its equation. You can't see it until you see it. See? That alone is travel. See how it disappears? See? So you have to have communication balance, guys, with your mind, your brain. The brain understands where you're going through travel. The mind understands the creation of thought, which is light. Once you understand the light, you're and everything through its connection of light to its position. Okay. Whoa, you can see it now, right? Until it disappears, right? So my brainwaves is all connected to the simulation. My mind, my brain, my heart, my soul, my body, my chakra system is all connected. That's how I'm able to travel trillions of years into the future. So as soon as I change my thought, it appears and it disappears. See how powerful that is? It appears because I said it, and it disappears because I said it. That's travel, right? That's balance. So get into that connection, guys, of yourself. All right? But you got to be calm. Yeah, you can't travel if you're nervous or anxiety, if you're depressed, or if you're crying. It's just practical levels, guys. You have to send your center positions of you before you travel. You can't be upset and meditate. It's just wrong. It's just you're opening up cycles, you're changing vibration, you're changing atmosphere, you're changing positions, and the eyes see all, the ears hear all, the voice knows all, and the mind knows everything through space and time. Okay, I gave you guys with Space Discoveries 2, season 2. If you watch that, you get a true understanding how you're connected to the mind of creation of the simulation. Okay, the modulations, the integrations, the cycle rotations, what you are through your thoughts, right? It's all connected through your sounds of your ears. It's all connected to your eye receptors of travel. It's all connected to your voice and grid patterns. Okay, it's all connected to you through your body, right? So when you draw an illustration and you know how to take things out, that's great. So experience on that, right? If you don't have a digital pad, that's okay. What you can do is basically just draw it out, right? Try to understand, you can communicate with lines just by looking at through perception, right? So even though it's a digital board and it's a computer, right? You can see the lines, you can see the illumination light system. I can see it, but you can't, but it's blank, right? But to me, it's not blank. It's already set in location and it disappears because it's extremely, extremely high vibration. And that's how it illuminates the light boards. It travels to its position. See how it traveled? See that? See how the background changed from here? Watch. See it changed? See that? See that portal open? Watch. See that portal open? See that? Portal open. Opens up. Illumination light all through a board. Interesting, right? So if you look at a line signal like this, subtraction, okay? You see that's two positions. Two connection. It's resetting positions here. Okay, so we go through one line signal. Okay, this is just a line. It's just a line. That's all it is. Okay, so it's understanding what is the line doing. Right? It traveled in its past. Now it's in its future. Okay. You have to ask yourself, how do I make this disappear? How do I communicate with the black? How do I communicate with the line? It looks like it's going up. Right? So you have to ask it. I mean, it's complicated stuff, but you understand, once you understand yourself through mastering, you can communicate with anything through the line. And that's how you communicate through vibration, guys. Okay, because it appears and then it disappears through connections. Right? It's there. Okay, it's about the travel. See, it's very low vibration. Okay, it's not in the simulation. That's why it's still there in position. So I'm just trying to get you guys more connected with your body, more connected to your chakra system. So when you come into higher positions like this, now it's creating. Now it's coming into something stronger, right? Because I cross-referenced it. It was just a line, but it's still in position. But once you create something to its picture, it comes out of its equation, right? It's going to disappear now, right? So if it comes into an atom rotation to its connection, I'm adding a circle, right? It's going to start to travel. If I add atom rotation centers to its position, it's going to come into a higher formation system. Okay? So if I want to go to higher communications of creation, you understand what you're creating through its division, its traveling location. Okay? See, it moves on its own. See that? It moved on its own. See that? Did you see it actually move on its own? Right? It's showing you what you can do. Not me. The line. The line communicated it through the body frame, through the psychometry location. 4 division levels, so 4 circle rotations, center within the system, cross-reference location. It looks like a kite. It goes up. See? It moved again. You see that? You see it move? It's moving to higher. So this is understanding mind over matter. Okay? So the actual board, the line strip is moving. It wants to show you what it can do through its traveling position. So the more you go higher, the more you can do through line, and actually can move the digital. You can actually move the paper, right? Because it wants to show you what it can do through its structure. That's why it's so powerful, guys. Through connection, right? And now it's gone again. See? It's gone until it reappears. See how powerful that is? See? It's not there, is it? Because it's in the simulation. See? It's incredible, isn't it? It's amazing how we see these things. Traveling is everything, guys. It really is when it comes into higher positions. Put security line defense. You can open another realm location to its position. Right? Everything is creation. I just created that. Right? Through its thought. And then it travels to its position. To its location. Once it travels to any location, it comes everything through its connection to the plasma energy system. It travels. So when you come into those connections, you can line signal channels to anything through direction to its position. Okay? So it's truly understanding what you're drawing, how the brain is connected to its drawing, of its connection. And now it's going to almost travel because it's getting stronger now. Line communications are coming into a higher division of a dimension to its portal through its simulation of its graph. The map location to its 4-point center of 369 is traveling to higher positions to its circle rotation of its round location. See that? See that round? Security line defense. See the box? See what I just created? That's traveling. Now I can take my team, my actual team, and put them in this realm, into this shape, and they can travel through security line defense. This is what I can do until it disappears. Okay? So, what are you creating? Everything is created through thought, through a line. That's what we're coming into. Singularly line division of simulation. And it's all done through its awareness, consciousness, abundance, and surrender. So you have to understand the surrender to its travel positions, or it's not going to disappear in front of your eye positions. Okay? So, but one more thing. What I'll do is basically I'll put you guys in position. We're going to go into the center position, the circle rotation. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we're going to the 6th dimension. Right, we're going to the 6th dimension, center position level system. Take everything through rebellion lines, communication center point position, and attraction location position. Put in the center positions. You guys are there now. You're actually seeing this. You're actually seeing the shape through your eye perceptions. You're hearing everything through a sonar, and you're feeling everything through space and time. So you're connecting to the round location that is traveling, to its portal activation line, to its code frequency. Okay? Until I take you out of the equation. You guys are out of the equation now. Back on the Earth rotation system. Okay? That's how fast you can do these things through your mind. Through thought. Okay? So, how do you guys feel? You just traveled to the 6th dimensional system through a shape anomaly. It's amazing how you create these things, eh? Look at that. Look how powerful that is, and it disappears. You know? Travel, travel, travel. Everything travels. So, when you create something really fascinating to its connection, and it's already in the simulation through its traction location, it knows what it's doing through traction positions, it knows how to allocate its position, its security line defense to its position, travels to its connection. Okay? So everything that you draw, you should know exactly what you're doing to all positional levels. If you don't understand what you're drawing, you're having problems with your brain. Your brain is not allocated to position. It's not leaving the physical system. It's staying in its position. But the mind creation system is in the distance of its connection. So the line communicates to its traction location, change its position of its direction to its location position. Right? And it changes its position. Right? Now, once you add color to its position, changes everything through location position. You get the circle rotation center to its connection. You got the round location to its security line defense location, like this, through position. Right? But it's white when you travel, right? So that round connection line system, purple, right? But when I bring it back, it's disappeared. It's traveled. So you can travel through realm, you can travel through portal, you can travel through shapes. So it's shapes anomaly through circle rotation. Center position, because it looks like a starlight position, right? See? And it disappears. It's white. So when it's white, it's in the simulation graph. So the line signal and everything through the gamma operation of vibration changes its position to its location. So you can go off cycle through its connection, security line defense. All right, so that's in the 10th dimension. Okay. Travels out of its position. But this stays. Isn't that interesting? This stays because it's a lower dimension of security line defense. But this disappears because it's a higher defense of a realm. Interesting, isn't that? How this disappeared, but this is still here because this is a lower vibration of a portal defense. This is a higher vibration, and that's why it disappears. All done through thoughts, guys, of creation. Right? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but you have to have balance with everything. Okay, I just want to show you what you can do through shapes. So it's heartfelt, universal. Yeah. Yeah, so zipping noises and codes. Yeah, wow. Yeah, I took you to the 6th dimension. Wanted to show you what you can do through travel. So you actually see the shape. You actually see the realm. You actually go through the realm. You actually go security line defense. So you hear these things. You start seeing codes. You see everything through fruitions. And light, you see different colorations of light. So whatever I draw, you see the color because it's all created. Right? So I just wanted to show you how powerful it is when you get into those positions, right? When you start out with this through perception, how it disappears out of its equation, right? So I've done a lot of illustrations for you guys. Now, if we go back to positions of thought, everything that's shaped to its anomaly is in the simulation graph, but it shows you its past to its future, which is extremely complicated. So that would change the brain location positions because I'm showing you something that's in the past. So you have to understand your positions of the brain has to be in the future of its presence, okay, and not its past of its presence, if that's not too confusing. So basically, if I show you something in the past, it changes the brainwave because you're going into the past. Right? That's why it's so powerful with you come into the simulation, right? How your brain becomes a simulator to all connections of vibration, right? But it's amazing how we travel to connections of dimensions and realms. Okay. So, and when you draw it too, there's no hesitation when you draw. Okay, it's like you're in an airplane or you're in a stealth fighter or where you're in an F2 fighter or anything that connection. Or 4G or anything through that, you have to realize you had no time. You have no time to think. You know, it's just something coming at you. You basically have to be alert, right? So it's all about understanding when you're drawing something. You can't get in hesitation. You can't pause because you're changing direction location. So if you're line communicating to anything through direction, okay, as soon as you put your line up, okay, you got to know what you're doing. You got to know what you're doing. You're traveling, but it doesn't matter what you're doing. As long as you understand it's flow. Yeah, flow. Everything's a calm of flow. Everything creates through its pattern. Okay? Everything creates through its pattern and they become something through coloration. Right? And then it disappears into the simulation. Okay? Now, if I start coloring this in, then you actually would start seeing the picture. Right? But my thought process didn't let me go through connections. It kept me going. Didn't stop me in any pausing positions, did it? I just told you exactly what you can do through flow. Thoughts are flowing. The brain is flowing. The mind is flowing. The heart is going through its portal. And everything through its soul is identifying everything through travel. It's not stop and go. It's not pause. It's not erase. It's going through its flow. And then you color it in. And then it disappears. Right? So, all done through thought, guys. So questions or comments, please feel free. If you want to know more about the program, go through my email. If you want to see your former self 5,000 years in the future, let me know. I can do it for you. It's powerful when we come into these times. I think if you find yourself and you see yourself 5,000 years later, it's going to freak you out. It's going to freak you out because you actually see yourself and then you ask yourself, you know, just be equivalent on acts because it will give you an answer. But ask one particular question, not anything through a question, but what question do you really want to know? Okay. And that question will be answered through your former self of 5,000 years into the future. Okay. So I think we're going to stop right there. So make sure we're all caught up. Any questions? Yeah, I'm all caught up. I want to make sure I get all your questions because it's important you guys get your answers, right? But just imagine you can get your answers that you want, but take one particular question. Anybody can ask a question in an interview, but what are you asking me? What concerns you the most? What can make you feel yourself better? Okay, to understand that you are the former self of 5,000 years later. Imagine that. You're communicating. If I can open up healing to connection and open up your inner self, imagine what I can do with the future of yourself. Okay? So it's all done through codes, guys. It's all done through portal. It's all done through dimension. It's all done through your sentient of your view, how you want to see yourself in the future. Right? So it's taking the dream system of view through calculation, changing your particle system, showing you what you need to see 5,000 years later, 7,021. Wow. You're extremely welcome, Dina. Okay, so if you want to go through spiritual healing, if you want to go through the simulation therapy, let me know. This goes out to the light workers that need help. Trying to understand more of their connections, what's actually happening. And the thing is, too, when is this going to be over? People keep, going to their connection. Well, when the central line system of the star, recognition of the sun, everything through connection of the atmosphere positions, and everything through the moon base and its connection of 12, 12, 12. Once that comes into the center position, which is going to be very soon, because we're already in the light. Matrix 2.0 is already fallen through connections. Once we come into that formation of 12, 12, 12, everything through the atmospheres and everything through space and time will go in backtraction division to humanity's system. Okay, through all allocated positions into the telepathy of the mind system. Okay, so yep, that's the truth right there. That's what's going to happen if you want to understand more of what's happening. Right? I can't give you too much information. It just overload the brain. The brain can only concept so much lines of communication. 8 pounds of pressure. 8 pounds of pressure. So it's important you guys get into your connections, of your balance, of your presence. Keep your volumes of your presence of your brain in the simulation of thoughts to its presence of its future and not its past. You can't have the brain in the past and have the mind in the future and have the heart not sharing what to do through portal and the soul is not identifying anything. It's not identifying anything, right? So get into that creation of yourself. Sit down and talk to yourself within. Create something. Dina, you can do that. Tina can do that. Galactica can do that. You guys don't know you can do that, right? Because you don't know how powerful you are. That's second guessing. That's doubting. But you're high, but you're not sure why. Oh, that rhymes. So that's what you guys need to do. You just need to follow up on that. Really, really communicate within yourself. Okay? So if I want to use a triangular force, if I want to use my energetic pattern, I want to change my body conceptual through my lines, through my chakra system, energy goes in. Run into me. That's what I just finished doing. That's communication. Right away, instantly. The mind, the brain, the heart, and everything through the soul identifies your thought. Try it. Everybody try it. See what happens. Okay? You believe how real it is, and then you start connecting. Whoa, Commander's right. I understand the energy of thought now. Energy of thought. We'll get into that next. It's really important. You have to understand your thoughts, recognition to time, space of you. So when you start creating it, it's not created until you create its thought. And that's where it comes into space of time, of travel. Okay? All right. So I love you guys very much. I'll keep you informed what's going on. So the practical levels in that connection system, the program is set up to that connection. Just go through my email and upgrade your system. Okay. All right. So everybody have a fantastic day. This is just Premier Commander from all communication of thought recognition lights and body activation line system to chakra location positions. Adios.